Hi students, welcome to the new session. I am Saljo Joseph here. Today we are going to discuss a poem written by Sarojini Naidu, The Gift of India. Sarojini Naidu was famously known as the Nightingale of India. Being a child prodigy, she excelled in poetry and was sent abroad to study literature. Her poetry, written in English, mostly dealt with Indian themes. The Gift of India is a poignant and patriotic poem by Sarojini Naidu, which praises the sacrifices made by the Indian soldiers in the World War I. Dealing with the theme of courage and selfless sacrifice, The Gift of India is also an ode to the unsung heroes or an elegy for the children of Mother India who laid their lives for others. The Gift of India is a poem written in 1915 which embodies the spirit of patriotism for the motherland. In this poem, Mother India is proud of her brave and fearless sons who have made a number of great contributions not only to the country but on a global level. When the First World War broke out, Britain faced a serious problem. It had a shortage of soldiers to fight against Germany. Thus, it asked its colonies for help. The title here talks of the gift that India bestowed upon Britain during this critical juncture. The poet here takes on the voice of Mother India and talks about the greatest gift that she has bestowed upon the empire, the gift of her sons, who have been martyred in faraway lands fighting an enemy with whom they have no immediate conflict. Let us go to the first stanza of the poem. Is there aught you need that my hands withhold? Rich gifts of raiment or grain or gold? Lo, I have flung to the east and west priceless treasures torn from my breast, and yielded the sons of my stricken womb to the drumbeats of duty, the sabers of doom. Here, in the opening stanza of the poem, India is personified as mother, and Mother India raises a question to the world, asking if she has withheld any of her riches like clothes, grain, or gold from them. She asks if she has denied any form of sacrifice to the world that was needed for a better tomorrow. She has promptly given away the courageous sons of the nation, whom she calls her priceless treasures, to the eastern and western countries. She talks of her brave sons who have readily accepted every challenge that came their way to cater to their global commitments, as a result of which they are lying buried in foreign soils. Mother India agreed to send the Indian soldiers to the land of chaos, death, and destruction to protect the nation's integrity and prestige. She has given up the sons born out of her womb to the world for the sake of the country's esteem and commitments. The personification of India as mother is made explicit when she says that her sons, priceless treasures, have been torn from her breast, and that she has yielded her children from her grief-stricken womb to the horrors of battlefield. Her claim of having flung her priceless treasures to the east and west is that Indian soldiers were posted in various battlefronts ranging from East Africa to the Western Front. The image of a mother who gives away the sons of her womb to the service of the Allied forces speaks as much of her own valor and sense of duty as that of her brave sons. The call of duty, drumbeats of duty, and swords of death and ruin, sabers of doom, evokes the atmosphere of war. This image is extended in the second stanza, which brings to the full view of the horror of war. Now let us go to the second stanza of the poem. Gathered like pearls in their alien graves, silent they sleep by the Persian waves, scattered like shells on Egyptian sands. They lie with pale brows and brave, broken hands. They are strewn like blossoms mown down by chance on the blood-brown meadows of Flanders and France. Here, Mother India bemoans the fact that her children have been collected like pearls and shells in their foreign graves. Here, when the poet says alien graves, it means foreign lands. By the Persian ways, the sands of Egypt and meadows of Flanders and France, they lie dead with pale foreheads, pale brows, and mutilated bodies, brave broken hands, and are scattered like flowers cruelly killed by misfortune, cut down by chance. Three similes are used to describe the soldiers. They are likened to pearls, shells, and blossoms. The choice of such a comparison highlights the qualities of her sons as she sees it. They are precious, fragile, and innocent to her maternal self, like pearls, shells, and blossoms. The reference to Persia, Egypt, and Flanders and France highlights that these were the major threats of where Indian soldiers fought against Ottoman Empire, Persian waves, in North Africa, Egyptian sands, and the Western Front, meadows of Flanders and France. Let us say that here Mother India laments the death of the heroic soldiers who fought in the war with utmost valor and zeal and are now lying buried in their graves in the foreign lands like pearls in their shells. Over 1 million Indian troops from Britain's colonial empire had served the British Army in the First World War, out of which around 75,000 soldiers died in foreign lands. Some of them are buried along the tranquil Persian Sea, while others are scattered like shells on the Egyptian sands. They lie pale and colorless with hands that have been broken in the battlefield. There are other brave soldiers whose lifeless bodies lie scattered like flowers in the blood-tainted meadows of Flanders and France. The bleeding Indian soldiers chose not only to sacrifice their blood and sweat for their motherland, but also to prove the fact that India has never backed out from its promised commitment. The selfless sacrifice of the Indian soldiers show that India has always lived up to its expectations by proving its loyalty to its global allies.